Other things that are beneficial for merchants is that you grow long-term relationships with your customers, right?
Welcome to the iSearch podcast. Today we have Alistair, the Chief Growth Officer of Curlec on the show. So Curlec is a software company that makes it easy for business to collect recurring payments and also to improve their cash flow. So today I'll be discussing with Alistair on how you can easily collect recurring payment for your business without chasing for collection. So if your business always have problems with collecting payments, this episode is for you. So welcome to the show, Alistair.
Hi, thanks. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's begin. So what is the current problem that you see businesses are facing when it comes to collecting payment?
So, in Malaysia, historically, there are several payment options available to most businesses. Firstly, being cash and check, bank transfer, credit card, standing order, and the old-fashioned paper mandate. And, across all of these, you have issues and challenges for businesses with cash and bank transfer. It's very manual. It's very troublesome. From a business's perspective, the control is always in your customer's hands. With credit cards, it's very low penetration in Malaysia. It's something like 20%, and there's very high transaction fees. With standing orders and paper mandates, there are long onboarding times and large amount of human error and rejections. Typically with, for example, a paper mandate, customers will have to sign it off, which then get the stack of paper then gets submitted to the bank, who will then do an eye test to see if the signatures are right. So large room for human error there. So issues that businesses typically face with these payment options, usually it's along the lines of late or failed payments, and definitely failure in controlling and predicting their own business's cash flow.
Okay, so where do you see the benefits of recurring payment that Curlec offers comes in?
So with recurring payments and maybe with our direct debit specifically, what direct debit is basically an instruction from their customers to the bank that allows merchants to kind of pull money from their accounts into the merchant's bank account. So it's bank to bank and there's no card networks involved. The benefits for businesses in general, for recurring payments, we see 5 major benefits. First is that a more predictable revenue stream helps your business in the long term to predictably grow, forecast your costs, financial planning for the years ahead, right? We see a trend now globally shifting for companies that are shifting away from one-off product payments towards a more service-based model or a usage-based model where they charge customers on a recurring basis. Typically, this, in the long term, benefits their business model, much better. A very good example of this would be, Microsoft Office. Back in the day, you used to pay once for Office 03 or Office 95. Nowadays, I don't think you can even buy Office anymore. You have to pay them on a monthly, yearly subscription. The other things that are beneficial for merchants is that you grow long-term relationships with your customers, right? Rather than charging them a really high one-off fee for your product or service, you're charging them a lower fee upfront spread over however long your subscription is. And beyond just getting merchant customers through the door, this really helps you develop your relationship over time. You have increased touch points with your customers. I think in Malaysia in general, we definitely see a trend of buy now, pay later. Right? That is an example of recurring payment. Thirdly, it cuts down on your administrative costs and time. Recurring payments tend to be automated with our software specifically, or other payment gateways. It does cut down your internal costs. The last 2 things I'll lightly touch on. It's consumers nowadays like to prioritize flexibility. They, time back to the previous point, they don't like high commitment up front. It's very difficult to get them through the door. If you give them flexible options with variable pricing or longer term, shorter term payment options, I think it's more likely that your customers will be more inclined to visit your business and maybe do repeat business down the line. And then my final point would be this recurring payment options, tying back to flexibility, definitely it helps expand customer reach through this flexibility of payment options, timings, and schedules.
Okay, which means that what I see the main benefit is that business, they don't have to manually chase for payments. Which
Yeah,
means
they don't need
that
to chase.
so bad debts will be reduced, and then because everything we go through direct debit, so the customer's bank will automatically transfer the amount to the business.
It's a more reliable, easier way to collect payments and manage your own internal cash flow, pretty much at a very high level.
Yep, and also another benefit that I see is if you are selling a high ticket item, instead of just selling one off 5,000, maybe you can split it into 12 months recurring payment, that kind of things. Okay. All right. So how can business start billing their customers on a recurring basis without worrying about collections, and how does this direct debit works?
So customers merchants can really start billing their own customers today by just setting up an e-mandate with our
Sorry,
service,
what is e-mandate?
So the whole automation of recurring payments and the direct debit process itself starts with an e-mandate. And an e-mandate is we're calling it a consent now. It's consent from the customer that is given to the bank that authorizes the merchant to collect a fee from the customer's bank account. That is what an e-mandate is. And what we do is we help generate this e-mandate, facilitate the interaction between customers and merchants. We'll then take the e-mandate, pass it to the bank, who will then authorize it, pass it back to us. And what this authorization / consent enables us to do is on a monthly basis, a yearly basis, or whenever the schedule is set for, to pull straight from the customer's bank account into the merchant's bank account.
And is this process very tedious because you need to submit to bank and bank need to approve this kind of back and forth?
No, not tedious at all. I think historically with the paper form, it was very, very tedious. You have a whole stack of paper, you have to fill in each individual line item, sign it at the end, with a chance for it to get rejected. I think nowadays, no, not tedious at all.
And how long does it take to get the approval for this e-mandate form?
Almost instantly, I'd say.
Instantly. So, if I submit today, then the bank will approve, and then we can start. I mean, the business, assuming I'm a business, I can start billing my customers on a recurring basis.
Yes.
Okay. So customers will give their consent through e-mandate, and then they will probably e-sign or something, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess maybe we can also leave a link in the show below, how does the e-mandate form looks like, just a link for business so that they can have a look at a sample.
Sure. No problem.
So the next one is maybe we can share some examples of recurring payments for different industries, say service business, e-commerce, or any other popular industries that you have seen examples of this working well.
So I think in terms of actually setting up the recurring payment for the industries you mentioned, they largely follow the same process that we've talked about. It's set up the e-mandate, send it to the bank, get the authorization, which then gives us the right to, pull the payments when it's approved. I think there are some subtle nuances between industries and between types of payment channels, right? So, for example, property would be more inclined to use direct debit and FPX versus a recurring payment set up through a credit card network. Whereas a buy now, pay later player is more inclined to do either or, right? I think those are some subtle nuances there. Some other differences mainly differ in terms of whether it is a purely recurring based model or it's a hybrid of both recurring and one-off payments. Schedules and sizes can also differ by industries. A specific example of this would be property, where you set up a consistent same fee, same time schedule to collect rental from your tenants. But where you also have a hybrid here is when you will charge your tenants for maintenance fees, utility fees that vary on a month-to-month basis. So for us, we can do both.
What if the amount changes? Do the customers need to sign another mandate?
The recurring amount?
Yep, the recurring amount.
So typically when you set up the mandate, you have certain fields you need to key in, right? Like your account details or your 16-digit card number, your name, phone number, so on and so forth. One of the other bits of information we give to the bank is the maximum transaction size. So if I set up a mandate with a property agent, for example, the max value here could be 10,000. But what we actually collect in a separate line item will be something like 500 ringgit a month. In that case, if the change from 500 to say 2,000 does not exceed the max value set, we can do it straight away. You don't need to set up a second mandate.
Okay, because I ask this because some business, for example, let's say a marketing agency is for example, month 1 we only do Facebook ads, so we only bill 3,000. Month 2 we do Facebook ads plus Google ads, so we bill 4,000. So in that case, as long as it remains in the threshold, then we can continue the recurring payment. Is there a time period that the customers have to renew the mandate or something? After 1 year they need to e-sign again?
Again, depends on the initial mandate set. You can set a length of time that the mandate is valid for. Likewise, merchants can also choose to terminate the mandate as and when they need to. But largely, no, they don't need to set up an additional mandate. Only if they, in the digital marketing agency case, if it's new client or existing client has a new subsidiary, in that case with a different bank account which they are pulling from, they'll need to set up a new mandate. But with your industry example, typically we will advise them based on industry and speaking to them, knowing their use case, we'll advise them, hey, you will probably need a threshold of X just to account for additional things that you might charge for down the line.
Okay. So I guess maybe this example work very well for like an accounting firm where they know like every year they will charge how much to their clients. So for example, if there are 50 clients that wants to do like auditing and every year they charge, let's say like the same amount on a yearly basis. So they can ask their 50 clients to sign the mandate and then they don't have to like raise invoice and then after that chase them for payment. Can you pay like that? This kind of things.
Exactly.
Okay. Now I see the value of Curlec.
So
Okay.
we do, I think explaining just the recurring payments in general, a lot of people think, hey, it kind of makes sense, but not really for me. You'd be surprised how many businesses would actually, use a recurring kind of scheme,
Yeah.
right? We serve a wide variety of industries ranging from, gyms, agencies, accounting firms, property management, even more into the financial, insurance, robo-advisory space, buy now, pay laters. We do a wide variety of industries. We serve a wide variety of customers.
Yeah, okay. Let's say for me, I'm just seeing it from the B2B perspective, which means that like accounting firm or marketing agency, they have a set clients that they want to build on recurring. But when it comes to gym, wouldn't it be more complicated because it's like business to customers, so they have so many customers that need to also sign the mandate. Would that be a challenge, or it's the same as B2B?
It's nearly the same. So if you think about it at a gym, when they sign up a new customer, when they're signing all the other documents that say, hey, I'm going to sign up for this gym, I'm going to use this membership. For us, it's just another form there, or a digital form in this case, that says, hey, this is the package we agreed on. This is how much you're going to pay and how much we're going to charge you. It really doesn't make a difference.
So any other industries that I miss out or you feel that Collect also would help?
I mean, those are the big ones. We range from small like gyms, digital marketing agencies, to big where it's property, financial services, insurance. Like those cover the most education. Those are the big industries. But we also see a trend globally that has yet to hit Southeast Asia that exists among industries you wouldn't typically expect, like the automotive industry, for example. Volvo in the US is venturing into subscription-based models for their cars. So in that sense, you never really own the car, but you pay for a subscription to use the car.
Wait, sorry, a bit confused. You never own a car, but you pay a subscription. Something like the Flux, is it, in Malaysia? Like you pay a monthly fee
It's
to
similar.
rent a car.
It's similar. So you pay Volvo for the car, for example, and you pay them on a recurring basis. And they also give you the option to, hey, I can trade in, I can trade up. You just change the subscription model and you swap in your car. It's a lot easier for the customer at that point.
Okay, makes sense. So I guess that's all that we have for you. So to wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience?
No, again, I think I'd like to reiterate, those listening in, that what we've seen is a lot of businesses don't really realize the benefits of recurring payment or the applicability of this recurring payment scheme in their existing business models. And the ones that we have spoken to in the past that have adopted this new way of collecting revenue, generating payments, they do really see the benefit of it. So, come, do check us out, get in touch, speak to any one of our experts that are always available. We do other things beyond payments. We're moving into the realm of subscription management, accounts receivable, so on and so forth.
Yeah, one more thing to us just come across, like, do you have a dashboard that provides the sort of like the analytics on how
Yes.
much revenue do they gain? Okay,
Yes.
then it'll be easy for business to like really see the value once they have seen the dashboard of
Yeah.
how much revenue have they generated from using Collect recurring payments.
So we have an off-the-shelf solution that is applicable to many of our SMEs or medium-sized businesses, which includes the dashboard. It's ready to go. You guys can use it. But being by nature of being a SaaS company, our API is integratable for many businesses that have their existing, own accounting software or internal software that they use. We can integrate for them. We also white label.
Okay, great. Okay, so thanks, Alistair, for coming onto the show. Check out Curlec in the link below, and I'll see you in the next episode.
No, thanks for having me.